Shabbat Shalom, Israel. First off, giving our praise to Yahweh and His Son, Yahushua. Shabbat Shalom to brothers and sisters that's watching online. Today's class we'll be going into the Tower of Babel. But the title of the class is Tower of Babel, Land of Confusion Then and Now. Like we said, we'll touch on this history and get some understanding on these things, because we know during the old time, or in the Old Testament, it was going into Nimrod. But then, like we say, then and now, because we bring it up to today, America is doing the same customs that the Babylonians did, or that Nimrod did. And we find out that a lot of these customs go back to Nimrod. Because we know it, like all of us know, Esau is nothing but a culture vulture. So they not original, they just, all they do is take and steal. But we're going to touch on this history right quick. So first precept we're going to go to is Genesis chapter 6. Any brother know what big main event happened before the Tower of Babel? Any brother know what main event? Something drastically happened before. The flood, exactly. So this, we know when we go into the Tower of Babel, we know that it was prior to the flood. But we'll touch a little bit on the flood and then go into the Tower of Babel. When you get there, Captain, y'all read Genesis chapter 6 verse 1.
The book of Genesis chapter 6 verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair.
Read that again,
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. And they took them wives of all which they chose.
Now, like we said, we know Genesis is one of the hardest books of the Bible to interpret. But I know from brothers dealing with this in Camp 101, brothers should have a pretty good understanding of these things. Like we said, we'll touch on it a little bit more in deep. Verse 2 is going into what? What is verse 2? Any brother know? What is verse 2 really going into? It says that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all they choose, of which they choose. What is this going into? Interracial marriage. This is what this is going into, because it was a specific lineage that the Most High God was constantly dealing with, always, and they were called the sons of God. Like when we read in the book, y'all write this precept down, Luke chapter 3 verse 38. Brothers should know these precepts, because we just did this in Camp 101 briefly. So we're going to see if brothers been studying, taking good notes and so forth. But the sons of God mix with the regular people. Because guess what? The Israelites, we are not like regular people. But guess what? We got the holy blood of the Father running through us. So that makes us smarter. That makes us stronger. That makes us faster. Just like when you see these Edomite women getting with these brothers and they having these babies, and then their sons, guess what, can jump out the gym. Just like how we see with Blake Griffin and so forth. They know the blood that's running through our veins. Our people just don't understand the blood that's running through our veins. Read verse 2 again, Captain Yar.
Verse 2, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
And they just did whatever the hell they wanted to do. It let you know that, guess what, they even had commandments back during this time. They understood that, because guess what, the Most High God was finna bring judgment on them. Give me Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. This is one of the precepts for interracial marriage. Now we know it's plenty of precepts that brothers can go to. Brother Sam, you give me a precept for interracial marriage. Yeah, that's one of them. We got some more. Any brothers know any other? Junior Ox? Any other precepts, just real quick off the top of your head? Now, let's say that's what brothers got to get in the habit. Like we got Tobit, 12 verse 6. Nehemiah. You know, there's plenty of precepts that brothers need to have in their arsenal. So when these sins come up, when we out there teaching on the streets, then guess what? You be ready to pull them out. When you get there, Captain, y'all read that. What you got? 9 and 1. 9. Yeah, you can read 9. Start at verse 1.
The book of Ezra chapter 9 verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel, and the priests, and the Levites, have not separated themselves from the people of the land.
And that's what we're trying to do when we out there telling our peoples out there on the streets. We're trying to get them to separate from the people of the land, from the customs, from the traditions that, guess what, we have taken on. We done assimilated into these groups and forgot about our God. Read on up.
Doing according to their abominations.
And that's what we're doing. We no longer keep the Feast of Dedication as a nation of people. We keep what? Thanksgiving, and we keep Christmas, the most wickedest holidays. Read on up.
Doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites.
So it's naming Africans, Japanese, Chinese, the Egyptians. These are the customs of the people that we look after and take after. Read on up. This is the point.
Verse 2. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands.
It says, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of the land. Letting our brothers and sisters know that our Israelites, guess what? We have a holy seed within us. You shouldn't just be giving your seed to any old strange nation. Like it tells us in the book of Sirach, you sow your seed with your own people, trusting in the goodness of our stock, so our race may be magnified, not the magnifying of the other races. Come on, man. Why would we give anything else to a strange nation? You got that precept up? What you looking at?
Sirach 26 and 19.
Read that right quick out.
Sirach 26 and 19.
No, brother Shahad is, man. Notice our favorite precept.
My son, keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers.
It's telling us, give not our strength to strangers. The strength of a man is his what? Is his sperm. So when we giving that to the other nations, even like with the sisters, their eggs, giving their, letting the man put sperm in them to give their children to someone else. Read on up.
When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thine own seed.
Read that again. Sow it with what?
When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thine own seed.
It says, sow it with thine own seed. Meaning, guess what? Mix amongst your own people. That's what the Most High God, He gave us 12 tribes of beautiful women, handsome brothers that, guess what? Brothers and sisters can choose amongst. Read on up.
Trusting in the goodness of thy stock.
That's what we have to do as a nation of people. We have to trust that our stock is the best stock on the face of the planet. A lot of times we hear sisters say, I don't want to have a baby by another black man. I don't want my baby to come out black. I want him to have good hair. But like we say, well, sister, woolly hair is the best hair on the planet. That's the best. Like we say, we can make many different shades of colors. Is that it on that up?
No. Sow thy race.
Sow thy what?
Sow thy race.
A lot of times people don't think that race is in the Bible, but we reading it right now. Sow thy race. Tribe, nation, kindreds, tongues, all this going to a nation. Read on up.
So thy race which thou leavest shall be magnified.
So our nation, so the 12 tribes can be magnified. Read on up.
Having the confidence of their good descent.
Because guess what? We have to have confidence that our descent is good, man. We the best people on the planet. Nobody can get down like the so-called African Americans and Native Americans and Latino Americans, man. The best dressers, the best cooks, the best singers, the smartest. Come on, man. We do it all. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 6 and verse 3.
Book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man.
So the Most High God, for us breaking those commandments, He was telling us His spirit was not going to always strive with man. Read on up.
For that He also is flesh.
And we know that these bodies are fleshly. That's why we stay in the truth. Hey, be diligent in the truth so that the Most High God can give us new bodies and give us a new mind according to His mind. So we'll automatically know how to keep the commandments from birth. Read on up.
Yet his days shall be 120 years.
So for us breaking simple commandments like that, the Most High God shortened our lifespan. Guess what? We're trying to gain that back by what? Keeping the commandments now so that we can have immortality. Because that's what the end game should be. That's what the end game is. And that's what every brother and sister spirit should be trying to push towards. Read on up.
There were giants in the earth in those days.
Now, when people read this, because they didn't have a good understanding about this, they thought this was talking about what? The Nephilim. Like we said, how a 50-foot man gonna sleep with a 6-foot woman? Or a 5-foot woman? Man, that would be impossible. Or a 60-foot woman with a 5-foot man, what he gonna do? Climb up in the sister or something? I mean, it's just crazy, man. It's just nonsense. So this is not talking about that. This is just talking about brothers that were mighty during that time. Like what we would say with Puff Daddy, he is a giant in the music industry. Or like J.P. Morgan, they are giants in the banking industry. This is what this is going into. It's just a similitude for mighty and powerful men. That's all that it's saying. You got something about? No. Read on. Read that again from the top.
Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that.
And that's the key point. It said in those days and after that. Talking about after what? After the flood. After that, it was still going to be mighty men in the earth in those days after the flood. Read on.
And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men.
Because we just cannot stop mingling with the other nations, man. That's one of our main sins. We know King Solomon fell into that, man. We know this is one of the biggest problems that plagues our nation. And even like I bring it out on the streets. We Israel, but then you go and get the worst looking Edomite that you can find out there, man. They say Big Back Becky. I mean, come on, man. But that let us know that guess what? Our people are trying to be equal to the so-called white man.
Let me give another precept on that. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 3. Like I'm saying, it should be many precepts that brothers be bringing out, man. But like you say, that was one of our main problems. That's why Esau can kind of keep us in control right now. He give us, like say he give a brother all this money, and then once he give him all his money, what's the first thing he do? He go send some of his lapdogs over there. He go send them women, them bed wenches over there, and now they over there sleeping with them. That's how they do. Man, all the NBA players, they got nothing but white women. Been saying that for years. They want to have their foot in the door so they can be able to control every detail of that person, man. That's why they always do. Read that up.
Baruch chapter 4 verse 3. Give not thine honor to another.
Read.
Nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
So, cause the honor that we don't supposed to give no honor to the other nation, man. That goes into seed. That goes into even going to vote for them, man. We don't give no honor to them, man. The Most High God has separated us from the beginning, man, and we go. Here we go every single time. We like what we see over there, and here we go. And just like I say, I can't see I can't see how Bruce do that every time. You see a slim black man, and he have a 400-pound Becky with him, man. Be like, boy, how in the hell you get that?
Or why you get that? And it's just crazy, man.
For real, why you get that? Go ahead.
Go ahead, you got something. Let's go back to 6 and let's go back to Genesis chapter 6 verse 4.
The book of Genesis chapter 6 verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that.
After the flood, read on.
When the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown.
Oh, it says mighty men, which were of old men of renown. The word renown means what? Famous men. Famous for certain things, being mighty, being conquerors, and we finna go into one of these men. Going into what? Nimrod. He was one of the first mighty men to rise up after the flood. But this is one thing that we want to touch on. Give me Baruch chapter 3 verse 26. We got to understand the Most High put that in his spirit, because by nature, guess what? The other nations, man, they ain't got nothing on the Israelites, man. Like I say, they dumb by nature, but the Most High had to give them that sort of inspiration to conquer and to take over things. Just like how he did with Esau. And we'll find out that they have the same spirit. When you get there, you have to read that.
Baruch chapter 3 verse 26. There were the giants famous from the beginning.
Going into Nimrod. This is Baruch going in a little bit in detail about what happened prior to the flood. Read on.
That were of so great stature.
Meaning they was also, now don't get me wrong, people were bigger back then, but this is not talking about 50-foot men and so forth. Now, men did get bigger. Like we say, even when we're reading the book of Ezra, it tells us that we lose stature and we get weaker from generation to generation because there's more and more sin on the planet Earth. Read that again from the top.
Baruch 3:26. There were the giants famous from the beginning, that were of so great stature and so expert in war.
And they was expert in war, like how we find out about Nimrod. Read on.
Those did not the Lord choose.
But guess what? The Most High God didn't choose them. Just because he put something in their spirit to do something or gave them a blessing or so forth don't mean that he's just those are his chosen people. That's why we tell people blessings and the covenant is two different things. Yes, he blessed Esau, but guess what? He made the covenant with the Israelites. And brothers got to understand that no other nation got the covenant but the Israelites. Read on up.
Those did not the Lord choose, neither gave he the way of knowledge unto them.
Neither gave them the way of knowledge. Knowledge should go into the commandments and go into other things and so forth. You know, he didn't give them that understanding, man. He gave only us, the Israelites, all the understanding when we read in Baruch. Read on up.
But they were destroyed because they had no wisdom.
They had no what?
They had no wisdom.
Read on up.
And perished through their own foolishness.
And it was through their own foolishness that they perished. So this is just a little pretext to what we finna get ready to go into. Now let's go to Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10 verse 1. Now this is prior to the flood. I mean after the flood, Salaki. When guess what? The Most High God used who? Shem, Ham, and Japheth to repopulate the planet Earth. When you get there, Capt, read that off.
Genesis 10:1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood.
So he had sons after the flood to guess what? Repopulate the planet Earth. Because the Most High God killed everybody on the planet Earth except those 8 people. Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth and their wives. So he needed those people to replenish the earth again. Read on up.
The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and
Meshach,
and Taraz.
And Taraz. This is going into the lineage of Japheth. Captain Nimrod, do me a favor. Did you get that? I just sent you a text message. Pull it up on the video for me. Because this is going into Japheth. Now, it was once taught that what Japheth was the so-called white man. But nowhere in the Bible do you read about him changing the color. What were the color of Noah's 3 sons? What? No, what color were they?
Brown skin.
Brown skin, all 3 of them. So it was no mention of any difference between them. The only difference come in is when what? Genesis chapter what? 25 verse 23. That is the only difference. So that eliminates when people saying that Japheth is the white man. See, people got to understand what was one of the blessings of Esau. One of his blessings was that he would, well, one of his curses was that he'll be a vagabond and a fugitive in the earth. Meaning, guess what? He would take people's identities and become them. That's what he did with Japheth, because as you see right here, on the map, Japheth got what portion of the earth? He got what we call today Europe. Shem got what we call today the Middle East, which is Saudi Arabia, from Saudi Arabia all the way over to Jerusalem. And then we know Ham got what? Africa. So people think that since they was in that landmass that they are those people. But that is not so. Because when we go, brothers and sisters need to pull this out. You got your Zondervan out. When you go to your Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary and look up the definition of Japheth, we're going to read this definition. I would say this is a good book to read, brothers and sisters, because it gives you not only history, and it also you find out that Esau being here telling on himself like a mug, boy. They can't help but to do it, because sometimes the Most High God have them cut their own self, have them to fall on their own sword. It's Jabin, page 267. The definition of Jabin.
Capt Bible Dictionary, the definition of Japheth. A region settled by one of the sons of Japheth.
It says a region settled by one of the sons of Japheth. Read on up.
Japheth was the name of this country to Ezekiel 27 and 11, who saw it as an important trade center.
Because they did a lot of trade up there. Read on up.
So Japheth came to be the name of Greece to the Hebrews.
Read the one in parentheses.
Okay. Who saw it as an important trade center. So Japheth, Greek, Ionian.
It says Greek, Ionia. So you got names that was called different from what first century names were. This was the first century name of what we call Greek. Greece. Read on up.
Greek, Ionia, came to be the surname of Greece to the Hebrews.
It came to be what we call today Greece. So Jabin was what? He was really the ancient Greeks. But then from a period of 500 BC, during the time in between the Persian and the Mede battling, y'all got to understand there's other different things that's going on in the world at one time. It's just not that instance. This is when Esau went into Greece and conquered Japheth and became what? The Greeks. Because then we have books like The African Presence in Early Europe by Ivan van Sertima. You got Blacks in Antiquities. You got the Dark Ages of Greece. And this is something I forgot to bring out when I was doing the 1492 class. Because guess what? Greece had a Dark Age period too. Not with the 1490, not with the Renaissance era, but even before then, when they came in and took over Javin's and them landmass and became them. You know, that's like we say, when brothers do these things, they have to make sure they diligently research, because then you'll start to understand that why people think they will be called the Japheths. Go ahead.
Because I got a Esau class that I'm gonna do, and it's showing when you go through the lineage. Alexander and them wasn't originally Greeks.
That's right.
His daddy was Philip of Macedonia.
That's right.
They wasn't even original Macedonians. They went in there and took that too. You see how they moved. Just look at modern history. What they did in modern history, becoming Australian, becoming British, ISH on the end of that, becoming Jewish, ISH on the end of that. That's what they do. That's how they always did. So our people got a confusion about Esau, because he makes sure that he try to cover, he think he covering his tracks every time he do. Because you got to think about it. The same way we don't know who we are, he don't want you to know who he is neither.
That's right.
Everybody else, they've been doing whatever they've been doing for thousands of years. But this creature right here, who's a fugitive of the vagabond, every time he go, like for instance, he British and he French, right?
For real.
That's two different countries. But how, he separated himself, say I'm French, but they the same damn person. They related to each other. The Italians.
Because what do they say at the end of that? We always go over this. They French what? Caucasian. British Caucasian. Spanish Caucasian. They letting you know who they are, but a lot of times our people don't catch on. Go ahead.
Because for one thing, like Spain, right? We all know the Moors was ruling Spain, right? But didn't Esau take back over Spain? So what was he doing while the Moors was running Spain? You know what I'm saying? When they take back over, then they're that. Now we the royalty of Spain. When we take back Italy, now we the Italians. When we took over, you know what I'm saying? That's how they do. So what I'm bringing out, that's very important, because they try to cover their tracks on who they really are, and that lets you know that they Esau.
That's right.
Because a fugitive and a vagabond does not want you to know who he is. If you got a fugitive and broke out of prison, and he running around here, he gonna do everything to disguise himself, change his appearance, change his name, say he from over here, but he gonna say he from over here.
But the thing is, also they just such a foolish nation. They come in and take over those lands, and then they think they can run it forever the same way. Let me read this precept. Psalm chapter 49 and verse 11. Y'all make sure y'all write that down, because it goes, and that's how that is giving you the frame of thinking of how Esau does when they come in and take over these lands, man. Psalm chapter 49 verse 11.
Psalms 49 and 11. The inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations.
Read.
They call their lands after their own name.
So every time they go over and took over these lands, they try to change the name to change the game. They're like they took over, they took over Ireland, now they Irish. Every time they put the issue on, and they show themselves as being fools, man. But then they turn around and act like they can rule the same thing forever like this. they show their hand.
That's right.
What the last thing? When they went into Egypt, did they not start acting like Egyptians? They show you right there, it's a black nation. And they go in there, they took on all the Egyptian customs. Right. Mummifying, being pharaohs and everything. That's all I got.
Let's go. Matter of fact, let's pull a precept on it. Give me y'all Arab brothers to know this. Genesis chapter 27 and verse 39. Because this is going into the blessings. Like we say, the Most High God gives the characteristics of the nations. Brothers and sisters have to learn to put the pieces of the puzzles together. What characteristics of this person fits this nation of people today? The book of Genesis chapter 27 and verse 39.
And I brought up a cold cut point about Japheth. They like to say, Esau, the white man is Japheth. Where in the scripture did it say Japheth was a red man? Nowhere in the scripture do it say Japheth was a. So you gotta assume Noah was a man of color. His son's gonna be men of color.
That's right.
So where did Japheth turn into the red man at? But we got pure cut evidence that Esau came out red all over like a hairy garment.
That's right. When you get the Capt to read that out.
Genesis 27, 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
So Esau, one of his blessings was that he would have the fatness of the earth. The fatness of the earth means what? The best places on the planet Earth. Even when you go now, you see what one of the best places in Dallas is what? Highland Park. Who mainly is there? Esau. Richardson, Plano. Now, hey, Israel coming up in that thing. They still trying to hold down Highland Park though, because they got things set up to where Negroes can't move up in that mug, man. You got to go through all different type of avenues, and you have to know loopholes to get into there or really have real big money. But read on up.
Thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above.
And of the dew of heaven from above. So the dew covers the whole planet Earth, meaning they would dwell everywhere. They're in Alaska. I don't know why people want to live in Alaska, man. Come on. Australia, New Zealand, man, they everywhere. They even the South Africans, man. So, I mean, they everywhere. Read on up.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
This is how they conquered Greece. They conquered it by what? By the sword. The modern day sword today is what? The gun. What nation of people has the best military? Is known for being hunters. Love. I'm talking about they got children in the baby crib shooting guns. I mean, man, they love the hell out of some guns, man. Read on up.
And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
So guess what? It was ultimately their job to be our servants. So it was a point in time where King David had them in submission, but guess what? They broke from up under. That's what it's talking about. Broke the yoke from off thy neck. And guess what? When Christ come back, we're gonna put their behinds back in that yoke. Give me let's go back to Genesis. Genesis chapter 10 and verse 2 again. Because we'll touch on another point in verse 3. You get there, read that out.
Genesis 10 and 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tyrus, and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz.
So they'll take this. See, he got Ashkenaz. They the Ashkenazi Jews. No, brother, no sister. They took them over and became them. Because like we say, the original Ashkenaz, they was dark-skinned people. They are the sons of Japheth. Like we say, you won't read where they changed their color until Genesis 25. Everybody was of one color. the Chinese, the Japanese, the East Indian, everybody had brown skin. The only person that came out looking different was Esau. That's why Moses wrote it down. Hey, that baby red. That's something I'm a man say. This baby look different from everybody. I gotta write that down, man. No other people change their colors. Y'all got something right now?
They call themselves Ashkenazi Jews, right? We already know Jew ain't a nationality, and they stole Ashkenazi. And they threw away their real nationality, which is Khazars. They Khazarians.
Mm-hmm.
They tossed that to the side and picked up another name. That's all they did. They Khazarians, man.
Mm-hmm.
They not no Ashkenazi Jews or none of that stuff, man. What they call the Spanish, they even got a Sephardic Jews.
Yeah.
All this different stuff. They ain't none of that, man. Because Jews not even a nationality. That's the dead giveaway right there. They just took the word and made it into a nationality, and it's not a nationality.
Read verse 3 again, huh?
Verse 3. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Rippah, and Togarmah, and the sons of Japheth, Elisha, and Tarshish.
Tarshish is the modern day word for Spain. Read on up.
Kittim.
Kittim is, do anybody know what Kittim modern word is today? It's Greece or Italy. Italy, Salakia. Read on up.
And Dodim.
And Dodim, read on.
By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their land.
So the Most High God used Japheth to, guess what? Populate and replenish the earth after the flood in northern Europe. Read on up.
Every one of his tongue, after their families, in their nation. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan.
It says now it's going into the sons of Ham, like what we pulled up, where they got what and populated Africa as we know it today. It says of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan. So they used to always try to say that, guess what? We come from Ham, but now, like we say, Master, we can read now. So when we go to the Zondervan, like we say, you know, we got to get that for edification. The definition of Ham. Like we say, because I ain't gonna lie, boy, this was a big shock when I read this, man. Like we say, if you want to put something in the book, if you want to hide something from a Negro, put it in the book, man. Because, I mean, we could look and read, hey, brother, if you read this, you'll get $1 million in the morning. And brothers will never open that thing and claim their money, man. Because our people don't read as a nation of people.
What's a better yet? Say, if a robber broke in the house, he knew he had $1 million to go get in there, and they had a Bible sitting on the table with $1 million in it, he'll never open this book, boy. He'll walk past that mother 100 times.
So we got to get this definition for edification. When you get there, read that out.
Compact Bible Dictionary. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood.
So Japheth was the elder when we read in the book of Genesis chapter 11. Shem was the middle and Ham was the youngest. Read on.
And one of 8 persons who lived through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races.
He became the forefather of the dark races. Read on up.
Not the Negro.
Now, like we say, you have to get some understanding on this because guess what? We're a dark nation of people. So what does that mean? Read on up.
Not the Negro. But the Egyptians.
But the Egyptians, which are Africans, read on.
Ethiopians.
The Ethiopians, which are Africans. Libyans are Africans.
And Canaanites.
And the Canaanites are Africans. But the so-called Negroes, us today, we are not African. So Esau got to come with another lie, man. Because guess what? The Most High God is revealing all the lies and we squashing it with the Bible and other historical books, man. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 10 and verse 6 again.
Genesis 10 and 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush.
Cush is Ethiopia. Go ahead up.
And Mizraim.
Mizraim is going into who? Egypt. Read on.
And Phut.
Phut is going into what? Libya. Read on up.
And Canaan.
And Canaan is still the same. Read on up.
And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Ramah, and Sabdika, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan.
Read on up.
And Cush begat Nimrod.
So out of Cush begat Nimrod, like I brought out. Ethiopian is a Greek term which means what? Burnt face. Because When you read in historical books, Esau labeled all brown-skinned people the same. Anybody that had black skin, you're Ethiopian. Nigga, we not them dusty Africans, man. But they put that purposely in there to confuse the masses. Read on out.
And for the record, man, those dang gone Ethiopians, boy, y'all don't have the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
Yeah, for real. You
know,
know, we
y'all
all
better
gotta say
stop
that.
playing, man. Cause they,
For real.
For real, man. They always saying some weird stuff, man. And, man, we God chosen people too. We got the Ark of the Covenant, man. If anybody know about the Ark of the Covenant, if any nation will get the Ark of the Covenant, they will be destroyed, man. The Ark of the Covenant destroy any nation that it don't belong to. So if they had it, well, they'd be gone. They'd be wiped out right now. So them brothers stay lying, man.
They is, man. Read verse 8.
Genesis 10 and 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
It says, and Cush begat Nimrod. So Nimrod was what race? He was an African.
Yeah.
He was an Ethiopian. Don't be afraid to say it, man. And let me know if brothers and sisters paying attention or not. He was an African. Now we always see him different colors and so forth, but he was an African. He was a stinking African, like you said. read that again.
Verse 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord.
Now this goes into two understandings. Yes, he was a hunter because guess what? He also conquered nations and so forth and took down nations. But it's also going on a spiritual level. He was conquering those nations to get them to worship him. Just like how the Most High has us out there. A lot of times when you find and read the scriptures, all these nations want to do is imitate the Israelites. They want to be us so badly, man. So bad. And they want to be the guys. But the Most High God never said it like that. Give me, who else was a hunter? Brother should know this precept. What is the precept, Nathan?
Genesis 27.
Chapter 27?
I mean 20.
25,
Yeah,
27.
25 and 20.
Let's get there right quick.
Something like that.
He was also, this is going into the same spirit. And we'll pull this out. That's why the class is titled Then and Now. Because it's the same thing. It's nothing new under the sun.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
Was a what?
And Esau was a cunning hunter.
Even when you see them with the love to put the trophies up in their hunting rooms, love to go hunting, but more importantly, we take it on a spiritual level. What man is bringing up all these religions? You got Esau, Seventh-day Adventists, you got Baptists, you got Pentecost, you got all these different religions, and who is the man, the race that he's bringing these things up? Esau. So they getting people, they're hunting after people's souls to get them to come up under their religions to basically worship them. So it's the same thing. It's the same tactics over and over again. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 10 and verse 10.
Genesis chapter 10, verse 10. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel.
Was who?
Babel.
Now the beginning of his kingdom. Can you pull that one back up, Captain Nehemiah, on the screen, that map to show brothers and sisters the that landmass where he settled in. Because modern day Babylon is what today? What is the name of modern day Babylon? Any brother know?
United States of America?
No, that's spiritual Babylon. Where is the actual Babylon place? Iran, exactly, Iran. So even when you look right here, where you see Babel right here, it's by the Persian Gulf, but it also is by the Euphrates and the Tigris, where they kind of meet and dump into the Persian. All that area, even up to where Assyria is, where Nimrod controlled. He was a mighty hunter, man. Even when we read on down. So this is giving you geographical location. Everybody know about this. Like we say, that's why Esau is constantly over there doing what? Archaeological digs over there. They understand that the Bible is a true book, and each time they find something new. They finding these things out constantly, man. Go ahead, Doc. Read verse 10 again, Doc.
Verse 10. And the Lord, and Salakia, and the beginning of the kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar.
Shinar, the modern day word for Shinar is what? Mesopotamia or Samaria. That's where a lot of times archaeologists, they say is the cradle of civilization. This is where civilization really began. From Israel all the way over to what we see now as Iran or modern day Iraq today. Read on up.
Out of that land went forth Ashur, and built in Nineveh.
Ashur is going into the Assyrians, and we know that the capital of Assyria is what? Anybody know? What is the cap? What you got, Joe? What is the capital of Assyria? As we go over there, what you got, Isaiah? What you got, Yosef? Brothers should know these things. What you got, Brother Kai? What you got, Ahisamach? The capital of Assyria is Nineveh. Going into the history, because y'all have to notice when y'all reading the book of Jonah, to know that he wasn't just going to the Assyrians, he was going to the northern tribe that was scattered amongst the Assyrians. That's why we say world history is very, very important, so you can further put the pieces of the Bible better.
Because just like he's saying, even in the history of Job, and when Nineveh was a mighty country at that time, man. That's why Jonah. That's why Jonah didn't want to go there, man. He didn't want to go. He didn't want no smoke with them, man. He wanted to stay away from them. But the Most High said, "No, you finna go, or you gonna die."
One of the two.
So he ain't had no choice but to go over there because there was a mighty country at the time. Go ahead, Doc.
Read verse 12 out.
Verse 12. And Rezin, between Nineveh and Calah, the same as a great city. And Mizraim begat Ludum.
Now we know Mizraim is going into the lineage of the Egyptians. Read on up.
And Mizraim begat Ludum. And Anam.
Anam is going into the Anaks, going into very tall people, like what we would call the Watutsis today. Read on up.
And Lehabim and Naphtuam.
And this Neptune is going into really the Nephilims, because they were a very tall people. Like we say, even what's his name, Manuk Bowl.
Yeah.
And he really is like the shortest of them. Manuk Bowl like what, 7'7"?
7'6",
Man, I'm talking about, and he was like short to them. Yeah. Even his son Boa, he tall too, but they get very tall, man. This is the lineage of where Goliath come out of and so forth.
It'd be considered as a runt.
Yeah, for real, because they grew.
Manuk Bowl, and with us, he walked around, he looked like a giant in the land over here. You know what I'm saying? Just like you say. So, and like you said, what's his name? Goliath, man, came out the lineage, and that's why he's saying that Goliath made the people look like they were ants. You know what I'm saying? Because he was so big. Go ahead,
Read on, verse 14.
14. And Pathrusim, and Cassim, out of whom came Philistine.
So this is where the Philistines come from, which is modern day what word? Palestine. They switched it. Now it's no longer the Africans who control Palestine. The Arabs, exactly. Read on.
And Caphtor, and Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth.
So Canaan begat Zidon. So when we read in the scriptures, there was a woman of Tyre and Zidon. They come up out of the Canaanites, or so-called Africans today. Jump down to verse 25. Now read verse, keep reading out.
Verse 16. And the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Gargasite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite.
Yeah, you right.
And afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad.
So this is how you get Canaan everywhere, because it's telling you after that the Canaanites or the Africans were spread abroad. They did dwell in what we call Babylon or modern Iran and Iraq, but who pushed them out? The so-called Persians. The Persians pushed them farther into Africa or farther southern out of Africa into what we know is Ethiopian, even on down to South Africa. So a lot of times y'all got to understand is when you have war, it's also displacement of your people, tribes, and kindreds. Just like with us being in our captivities and in war, we done got displaced to Africa. Now we over here. Now we don't know where the hell we from. You know, this is the destruction. This is how you destroy a people. You know, this is the foundations of that. Jump down to verse 25.
Verse 25. And unto Eber were born 2 sons.
Now, when it goes into Eber, this is where you get the word what? Hebrew. Exactly. Read on up.
The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided. And his brother's name was Japheth.
Now, verse 25 is a little heavy. Do anybody catch that? Because what do Esau, at one point, the world was what we call what? Pangea. So this is what this is going into. Then after the flood and so forth, that's where the Most High God used the rivers to break up different landmass and push them farther and farther east and west and north and south. Read 25 again now.
And unto Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided. And his brother's name was Japheth.
So it's going into Nimrod, going into how he used what Noah, going into how he used his 3 sons to replenish the earth and knowing whose lineage they come out of. Jump down to verse 32.
32. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood.
After the what?
After the flood.
Now we finna get to the meat of the class, going into Genesis chapter 11. Read that out.
Verse 11. Chapter 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
Now it says the earth was of one language and one speech. Meaning what? Everybody spoke and said the same thing. It was not, I'm going to say it this way, Yehoshua, Yahawashah, or Jesus, or Christ. Everybody spoke it the same way. What was the first language on the planet? Any brother know? What?
Paleo.
Yeah, Paleo-Hebrew. Paleo-Hebrew means what? Ancient Hebrew. And like we said, it wasn't called that because everybody spoke the same thing. So it was no need to put a name on the language. You know, it's just what it is. Read that again from the top out.
Verse 1 of chapter 11. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there.
So we know, like, where the Garden of Eden was. The Garden of Eden is Israel. So this is when the Most High God was pushing everybody out, and they started traveling what? Farther east, like how we seen on the map. So the Ethiopians went even further eastward to where they settled into what we know today as Iran or Iraq. Read on up.
Verse 3. And they said one to another, Go to let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar.
So this is what the Most High put on their spirit to do what? Start building after the flood. This is where you get into one of the first skyscrapers that they was trying to build. Who else liked to build skyscrapers? Esau. You know, because even when we read in here, I'm going to read this right quick, in the book of Josephus right quick. He was just giving us just a little history. Like we say, we use it only when it filters through the Bible. That's it. Because some of the stuff, hey, we don't take as canon, exactly, as the scriptural. This is the book of Josephus, page 56. It says, Now was Nimrod who excited them to such an affront and contempt of God. He was the grandson of Ham, the son of Noah, a bold man and of great strength of hand. He persuaded them not to ascribe to God, as if it was though his means they were happy. So he put himself as what? As God. Don't ascribe to the Most High no more. Guess what? Ascribe to me. Because guess what? Shem, Ham, and Japheth, they had some understanding about the law, statutes, and commandments, because guess what? Noah was teaching them that. So they knew about the flood. They knew some form about about keeping the commandments, but they didn't keep it. Even like Esau. Isaac told him to do what? Marry a nation of your own people. And what did he do? He married a Canaanite. He did opposite. It says, but to believe that it was their own courage which procured their happiness. He also gradually changed government into tyranny. And this is slowly but surely what Esau is trying to do too as well. Because the Most High God, our government is what? Is the Bible. But they're turning the government into what? Into tyranny. That's when they ruling people with a rod of iron. We all know what it says in what? In Proverbs, when the people mourn, I mean when the wicked is in rulership, the people mourn. People is mourning out here, man. It's no justice, no peace. We can't get a catch. And we understand these things because guess what? We're not keeping the commandments. So we understand why these things is going on when you wake up to the truth. Who got that precept?
Proverbs 29 and 20.
Yeah. Proverbs.
Ruler hearkens alive.
Nah. I got it. It's 29 and 2. This is the book of Proverbs. Oh, yeah, go around. Proverbs chapter 29. Thanks, brothers and sisters.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
So I'm pretty sure, like we say, when we get back in authority, guess what? The earth is going to rejoice, brothers and sisters, man. Don't be deceived. That's why it's very important. We just have to get our spirits right to be able to take on that leadership role and people of authority. Read on up.
The people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
The people what?
The people mourn.
And we all know what people is ruling the planet Earth today. Esau. He is the wicked. And guess what? The people are in mourning, man. People are crying out. But a lot of times they don't want to take the help that we're trying to give to them. The help, which have always been, is what? The law, statutes, and commandments. That is the only help that brothers and sisters going to get, man. Give me, you got something up?
Nah, I'm just looking at something.
Let's go back to Genesis. This one ain't pulling up for me. Yeah, I just did. Let me send it to you right quick. Cause I don't. Genesis chapter 11 and start at verse 3 again.
The book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 3. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar.
So like we say, this goes into the Most High putting a spirit on them to build and to conquer, and to gather people up under one unit. You got that out? Let's go to Revelation while I'm trying to pull it up. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 2. Yeah. Start that over again.
Where the Tower of Babel, the subject of one of the strangest stories in the Bible. But could it be based on truth?
You see how we pronounce this? Babel, Babel.
Legend. And then a lot of people still think of it in biblical terms as some kind of legend, but they don't really know that it actually existed.
Esau is telling it actually exists.
Where the tower stood.
The fragile remains of the legendary city of Babylon in modern-day Iraq have revealed many secrets. The greatest of all was the discovery of a vast structure that ancient records suggest was the Tower of Babel.
Pause that for me right
Ancient
quick.
texts have allowed experts to imagine what the building might have looked like. But now, astounding new evidence has emerged.
Like brothers are saying, give me Psalms chapter 64 and verse 8. Because the Most High, a lot of times, guess what? Our people won't believe it if we tell them. So the Most High God put it on Esau's spirit to tell on themselves a lot of the times. And that showed you the pride of them too, man.
For real, man.
They just won't believe it if we said, we telling them the same thing. Man, I don't believe that Bible, man. It's the white. You quoting the stuff from the white man. It's like, brother, sister, man, just, okay.
But then they turn right around and celebrate Christmas.
Psalm 64 and 8.
Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves.
Mm-hmm.
All that see them shall flee away.
Jump up to verse 7. Let's jump up to verse 6.
Verse 6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search.
Even with archaeology, I can't even say the word archaeology. I was just pushing the word.
Archaeology.
It sound like brothers they said either.
Archaeology.
Let me hello.
Archaeology.
Thank you, brother. Archaeology. Thank you. Even with archaeology, that's what they're doing. Constantly digging up things to guess what?
Archaeology.
You try. Read this again, archaeology.
That's the root word.
An archaeologist. Read verse 8 though.
Verse 8.
I mean verse 6.
Verse 6. So they searched out iniquities. They accomplished a diligent search.
That's what archaeology is. Accomplishing a diligent search. Because guess what? They're constantly trying to find things where they go back to history. Because guess what? To an extent, they done been lied to. But each time they keep digging up things, the deeper and deeper they dig, the blacker and blacker people get. And they can't stand that. They looking for some red people somewhere. They looking for some Magna caveman bones and all that. No, that happened in the Middle Ages or in the Renaissance period. Read on up.
Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
Is what?
And the heart is deep.
So they always thinking deep. Let me get to that first, because guess what? If them Negroes find it, that's gonna validate the Bible. You know, so that's why it's hard for black people to come in archaeology or become archaeologists. I know I butchered. I know sister's gonna have a field day over there.
Archaeological is a word too, man. Archaeological is a word too, man.
Read on.
Yeah. Verse 7. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow.
And we shooting at them with an arrow with the Bible. Read on up.
Suddenly shall they be wounded.
And each time we go to the scriptures and prove them wrong, that's how they get wounded. Read on up.
So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away.
And that's what we get right now. Go ahead and play that. You got something?
Inscribed on the surface of a privately owned tablet is an image that sensationally reveals exactly what the Tower of Babel looked like.
This is a very strong piece of evidence that the Tower of Babel story in the Bible was inspired by this real building.
This remarkable tablet, which has never been filmed before, dates to the 6th century BC. It was discovered in Babylon over a century ago. Unbelievably, no one realized how important it was until Professor Andrew George, an expert in ancient texts, brought its faint carvings back to life.
At the top here, this part.
The 6th century it goes into 600 and 500 BC. So we know during that time that the Babylonians were ruling. Now we know Nebuchadnezzar was hundreds of years after King Nebuchadnezzar, but they from the same tribe. Go ahead, huh? Yeah, he was after Nimrod. So they had this history recorded, Nebuchadnezzar did.
Depicting a stepped tower, and here a figure of a human being carrying a staff with a conical hat on. Below that relief is text which has been chiseled into the monument, and the label is easily read. It reads Etemenenki Zikurat Babelu, and that means the Zikurat or temple tower of the city of Babylon.
This tablet provides the first ever image of the real Tower of Babel. It confirms the building was a Mesopotamian stepped tower and illustrates the 7 tiers of the ancient megastructure. Significantly, it also clearly identifies the man behind it, Mesopotamia's most famous ruler, King Nebuchadnezzar II.
The building and its builder on the same relief.
Because like we say, that's why I say They put some truths in there, but they put some lies in there. That's why you have to filter it through the Bible. Now it says that he the builder, but the Bible just said that who was? Nimrod. So this is way after that. But they understood that history, and guess what they was doing? They was passing it down so they could keep our people were enslaved, so to speak, and keep them on top. That's why it's very important to pass down the knowledge of your inheritance and your tradition. So guess what? It can keep going on and on. That's what King Nebuchadnezzar was doing. That's what King Nimrod was doing, and they had that thing passed all the way down. This is where we're in the predicament we are in, because the Most High God took our understanding of who we are. Now we all mixed up as a nation of people, man. Go ahead, I'll play that.
But while the images are extraordinary, the tablet's ancient text also reveals a detailed account of the tower's construction. But while the images are extraordinary, the tablet's ancient text also reveals a detailed account of the tower's construction. And more importantly, how Nebuchadnezzar went about building it.
It reads from the upper sea, which is the Mediterranean, to the lower sea, and that's the Persian Gulf. The far-flung lands and teeming people of the habitations I mobilized in order to construct this building of the Ziggurat of Babylon.
Incredibly, this ancient account is identical to the biblical story of how the Tower of Babel was constructed. For scholars, the tablet offers further proof that the Tower of Babel wasn't just a work of fiction. It was an actual building from antiquity.
Because they will put some truths in there. After class, I know, man, I already know. Well, we take statements and stuff, but we'll never get up out of here, because I know all of us love talking about the scriptures. But yeah, write it down so you don't forget your thought. Read verse. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 11 and verse 4. Yeah, write it down, Ox, so you don't forget your thought, man.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 4. And they said, "Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name."
So this is why they was building the building, to do what? Make them a name, to become what? Renowned men, to become mighty men. So that can be passed down, and they can be substituted for gods. You said what?
Revelation 62.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I want. I'm glad that you said that. I'll praise. Let's go to Revelation chapter 6, verse 2. I'm glad you said that. Because like we said, even for them to start doing that, there was a spirit that the Most High God put on them. And this is where this comes in. Let me see it, brothers. Revelation chapter 6, verse 2. Salakia, brothers and sisters.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 2. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow.
And we know when the scriptures talk about a man sitting on a horse, it's talk about a man in what? In authority or rulership, like Ox said, and had a bow. A bow is what? A war instrument that you use to conquer and take down nations. Read on up.
And a crown was given unto him.
And a crown was given unto him, meaning rulership was given unto him. Read on up.
And he went forth conquering and to conquer.
And he went forth to conquer, went forth conquering and to conquer. I missed the point. Jump up to verse 1.
Verse 1. And I saw, when the Lamb opened one of the seals.
One of the who?
One of the seals.
Read on up.
And I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder. One of the four beasts saying, "Come and see."
So this is Christ opening up what? One of the seals. So during the time of Nimrod, what seal was open? We just read. The first seal was open. This was the first seal that was being unlocked, that the Most High God put on the spirits of the dark nations to what? To start conquering and taking down nations and lands. Read verse 2 again up.
Verse 2. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer.
This is where the spirit of Nebuchadnezzar, like we say, a mighty man before the Lord. This is where this comes from, because the Most High God put it on him to start conquering and taking down the nations. Now let's go back to Genesis chapter 10. Oh, chapter 11. Sorry.
Got something.
Genesis chapter 11 and 4 again. No, you good. Huh?
Genesis chapter 11, verse 4. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
So they wanted something that they could come to common aims with. So that building, guess what? That will put everybody on what? On one accord. So that, guess what? It wouldn't scatter them. So they could always have remembrance of that building. And guess what? Understood what it stood for. You know, just like with America. When they see the White House, guess what? One nation, what? Under God. Individual. You know, even with the pledges that they put forth to bring all nations up under their rule. When we're supposed to be where? Up under the rule of the Most High. They have always had this mentality, so to speak. Read on up.
Verse 5. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, with the children of men building.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one.
The people are on one accord. Read on up.
And they have all one language. And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do.
So the Most High God knew that they, guess what? They was basically trying to come together to do what? Really try to overthrow the Most High. And that's really what going and trying to build up to the heavens. It's two ideas on that. They was trying to build a high skyscraper to be safe from another flood, and also to try to take down the Most High, which they know they can. They can't do it. You know, it's just what they say. But this is also the spirit of who today? Esau. Gather people up under one accord. What brother got that precept? We brought that out. Who got the precept, man? I would say write them precepts next to that, man. When it automatically, when we heard and the Lord said, Behold, the people is one. That should trigger precepts in brothers' heads right there, man. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 41.
Well, they should have been lined that up.
Mm-hmm. There we say you got to have brothers in that spirit to be thinking on these things when these things is coming out.
Because they still really doing the same thing.
That's right.
The international space station stuff. They trying to look out for the Most High. See when Christ coming back, thinking they can keep an eye up.
That's right, and that's a good point too, damn, so thinking they gonna take him down. You know, that's just crazy. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 41. Brothers, put that right. 1 Maccabees 1 and 41 next to Genesis 11 and 6.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
That all should be what?
That all should be one people.
Come up under my rule, come up under my laws. Come up under the things that I do, worship me. Don't worship the Most High no more. Don't keep his commandments anymore. Read on up.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So all the heathen agreed, man. The Israelites wasn't at no council. Just like nobody speaks for us on the council of the United Nations. No one speaks for us, man. We got Edomites and we got Africans and Moabites and Chinese that speaks for us, man. But you won't catch an Israelite that speaks for us, because guess what? We're going to be bringing the Bible up in there. Nigga, get up out of here, nigga, with that Bible. But like we say, this is our heritage. This is our nationality.
And you know, they'll do that. If you go in any council and you bring out the Bible, they don't want to hear it. No. Just like we went to that city council thing.
Oh yeah.
Y'all remember that? We went to the city council thing and had all the city preachers and pastors up in the building. But we brought the Bible out. They said, you got 2 minutes.
Got 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
10, 9.
I'll read loud, man.
30 seconds.
Well, I'm talking about that's how fast it went. But they got all the city preachers and pastors. They was lined up on the wall. They was right there. But we brought the Bible out, boy. It was real quick, boy. I'm talking about. It said 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Boy, he kept on what midnight was bringing it out too, boy. He was bringing it out. 10, 9.
Let me read 43 because this
we're gonna read down.
43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profane the Sabbath.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that's what's going on today. Like you said, you bring it up to today. That's what Christianity at its finest right now.
That's right.
Profane the Sabbath. A lot of our people can just go into it, not knowing nothing about it, not researching the situation, not seeing that, hey, you know, we are this people, but why are we doing what they want us to do? So,
That's right.
profaning the Sabbath of the Most High God. Up to date. 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
Now they made it laws to, guess what, follow our laws, just like America. Don't keep the laws of the Bible. Don't do what the Bible say, but then it's supposed to be a Christian country.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. They hypocrites at finest, man.
Once you walk in the courtroom and it reads on every courtroom in what?
God,
Come on, man. Just
What
hypocrite.
God?
For real.
Make you put your hand on the
On
what?
the Bible, yeah.
And swear. Come on, man.
And don't say nothing in that mud.
Come on, man.
They God is money.
Gold,
Yeah,
oil, and
that's
drugs.
It is. Hold your peace, though. I know.
Yeah,
I
we
know
go-
brothers
we
be feeling it, man. I know sometimes sisters do too, and they want to say some stuff. But hold your peace, man. But read 44 again.
44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
Because even when we read in the scriptures, you never read where the Most High God wanted everybody together singing Kumbaya. You won't read that. Any brother got the precepts on that. Brothers got to be on it, man. The divide. Give me that Sirach chapter 17, verse 17. Some precepts brothers got the home in. We ain't talking about some of the deeper precepts, but some of these basic precepts that we go over like every Sabbath. Because the Most High God never made it to where he wanted all mankind to dwell together. You won't get that kumbaya in the scriptures. You won't, man.
And you know he didn't make all mankind to dwell together because of what? We can't even eat the same thing that they eat.
Right.
What if we sitting at the dinner table and he eats swine down here and we over here eating sheep, lamb?
Well, been flip the whole table up in that thing.
And that pork got everybody in the room sick. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why even showing us by even the vision, we don't even mix with the stuff that they do, man. Go ahead,
Sirach chapter 17, verse 17.
Sirach 17:17. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth.
It says, for in the division of the nations, not the putting together. The Most High God divided all the nations. Nations translate to what? Races today. What people say. Read on up.
For in the division of the nations of the people of Salaki. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people.
Read on up.
But Israel is the Lord's portion.
But Israel is the Lord's portion. So guess what? He separated Israel from all nations. That's why he gave the Chinese people China. He gave the Japanese people Japan. He gave the Mongolians Mongolia. Guess what? Everybody got their own set. He gave the East Indians India. Everybody has their own land to where they dwell in. The Most High God never wanted all nations to come together. That's why the Most High God calls this land what? Mystery Babylon. You know, because they doing contrary to what the Bible say. They gathering all nations, kindreds, and tongues up under this one country and worshiping them. What is another precept that goes with Sirach chapter 17, verse 17?
Joel 2 and 22.
What you got, Osha? What you say, Brother Yosef?
No, Joel 2 and 27.
Nah.
What Brother Osha had.
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy chapter what out again?
32 and
32 and 8. Let's get that precept. Joseph, what you do? Accidentally wrote something down in Camp 101, man. We've been seeing a lot of that going on, man. I say brothers should know these precepts. Brothers bring these precepts out on a daily basis, man. For
I'll
real.
tell you what I think is what's going on. We need to slow down during Camp 101.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we go because Bruce said we be going a little too fast. That's what that is.
Yeah, we'll slow down. We'll slow down even in class too. Make sure brothers and sisters get this. Like I say, always go back and watch the videos again if need be too. You know, you have to learn to put in there that extra study too. When you get there, read that out.
Deuteronomy 32:8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
So when it says their inheritance, he put each nation in their own land. Like we say, the Chinese got their own land, the Japanese got their own land, and we got our own land. Read on up.
When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
He separated the sons of Adam. You won't never catch them reading this in Christian church, man. Never, man. All they pull is John 3:16, close the Bible, nigga, give me my money, get out. That's all that they pull. You have to wonder why, like, why is they not reading certain scriptures like that? Because then they'll start waking people up to the truth. Read that again from the top, huh?
Deuteronomy 32:8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
So what that last part is going into, he picked out the best land for Israel and gave us the best land and gave all the other nations the scraps. You know, we get the best portions of the land, everybody else get the leftovers. Read verse 9. Huh?
For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
And they can't read that because it's specifically saying, for the Lord's portion is his people. Well, I thought God loved everybody. I thought everybody was God's people. Just because God made every race does not mean that he is the God of every race.
That's right.
That's one of the fundamental things that you have to learn when you come into the truth, man. Read on up. Read 9 again.
Verse 9. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
We are the lot of his inheritance. No other nation. Let's go back to Genesis.
So we the lot of his inheritance, so you know we got to have the best of the best.
That's
man.
right.
Got to have it.
Let's go back to Genesis chapter 11 and verse 5.
Book of Genesis chapter 11 verse 5. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded.
Now, who is this going into? Who is the Lord? Is this the Most High? Who do y'all think this is going into? Hold up. Now, I'm going to say it again. You said the Most High? Where, I need the precept. Damn. I just lost my train of thought, man. God can see no man can see that.
I'm gonna read verse 4 again. Like
Yeah,
you
go
took
ahead,
off.
yeah.
Read verse 4 again. I'm gonna show y'all something in there.
Verse 4. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower.
He said, let us build a city and a tower. Now, read on. I'm gonna show you. Read on.
Whose top may reach unto heaven.
So why would they think that? Why would they think to build a top to make it to heaven to the Most High God? I'm gonna show y'all something. Go to Genesis chapter 28. In 28, verse 12. I'm gonna show y'all something in there because that's why they thought to do this, because this is what the angels was doing right quick.
Never mind. Genesis 28 verse 12. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth.
Now this is Jacob having a dream, man. Read on.
And the top of it reached to heaven.
And the top of it reached where?
To heaven.
Read.
And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it.
So guess what? It's angels on the ladder that descend and descend, going back and forth to and fro from the earth. That's why when you read in Job chapter 1 verse 1, when the sons of God came, which were the angels, came for the Most High, and he asked Satan, what are you doing here with him? Like, you know, what you want? They were descending and descending, going back and forth from that ladder, going up and down. So they had understanding of that. So what they wanted to do, say, well, if the angels can do it, we're gonna come over there and do the same damn thing. So exactly what they did. They said, I'm gonna build him a tower because they wanted to build a tower to overthrow the Most High instead of like the angels was doing. The angels were descending, they were going up under direct order. You get the thought?
Yeah. So let's go back to Genesis chapter 11 and read 8 again. No, verse 6. Because I know the
Genesis 11 and 6. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have
No, verse
and
5. Yeah, thanks.
Verse 5. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded.
So it says, and the Lord. So I know a lot of times it was taught that it is the Most High that came down, but let's get John chapter 1 verse 18. Because like we say, there's no contradictions in the Bible. You have to study a little bit longer to get the proper understanding.
The book of John, chapter 1, verse 18. No man had seen God at any time.
Read that again, Doc.
No man had seen God at any time.
So if no man has seen God at any time, who was it that came down to see the city?
Christ. Yahweh.
Christ. You see that? We'll talk about it after class. Read that again, Doc.
No man had seen God at any time.
Uh-huh.
The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he had declared him.
He had declared it, because guess what? The Most High don't have to get off his throne. He sends what? Christ to do his bidding for him. He is the right arm of the Most High. The Most High got too much power and glory to step on the planet Earth. He put one toe on the planet Earth, boy, everything could just go downhill, man. Just be destroyed. So this is Christ going down to see these things. Like we tell brothers, like I say, Christ is all the way in the Old Testament. He is throughout the whole Bible. Let's go back. Genesis chapter 11 and verse 6.
The book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 6. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do.
Read on up.
Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language.
So who is the us in the next scripture? Who y'all think is the us, brothers?
Yahweh and the angels.
And the angels, exactly. Christ and the angels. Read on up.
Let us go down, and there confound their language. That they may not understand one another's speech.
Because what precept that the Most High God speaks in our mouth? Brothers should know that. What you got, Ocean?
Acts 7:22.
Say it again.
Acts 7:22.
Who got another precept? I don't want that one. I want the first one though. Who got that? Any brother got that? Brothers, we just went over this about a couple of weeks ago. What you got, Isaiah? All praise, all praise, man. Junior, hey. Hey, I'm just gonna say it like that, man. Read that right quick. Brothers should have these precepts, man. Exodus chapter 4, verse 11. Now, I'm gonna tell you, Brother Osha, Acts 7 and 22 is the precept for verse 10.
Yeah, verse 10.
You get there, I agree with that. Look, another precept. What you got?
Exodus chapter 4, verse 11. And the Lord said unto him, Who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb, or deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I the Lord?
He's saying, have not I the Lord. So the Most High God got power to where you can be an eloquent speaker, or guess what? A different languages, so to speak. This is what he had Christ and the angels come down and do, confound their languages. That's where it comes from. The term comes from Babel, because when people are babbling, can you understand them? No, you cannot. It's confusion. You're like, what are you saying, bro? That's where they get that that name from. It means confusion. Just like even with America, like we say, all the different policies, all the different things that they put forth, it's confusion. A man can be with a man. Now you got pedophilia. I mean, like I say, ecosexual. I mean, it's a lot of things out here, man, that cause confusion. Y'all know what that is, right? Ecosexual, where they out here get it on with trees and so forth. I mean, it's crazy, man. It really is, man. You pull these things up, yes. They actually is doing that. It's all different type of madness out here, man. Whatever you want to do, you can do it here in America, in the land of Babylon.
That's just like Nehemiah said, man. Who will make a sculpture hundreds of years ago, and these people, all the people naked, man? what the? That's it, man.
That is, man. It really is.
Ecosexual.
Let's go back to Genesis chapter 11 and verse. You said what up? In verse 7.
The next thing gonna be oxosexual. Y'all know what that is, huh?
What is that?
Having sex with the air.
Man, say this thing, people bugged out. Y'all be surprised what go on, man. These things go on, and a lot more of the things, man.
Been out a long time,
Genesis chapter 11, verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
So when you not speaking the same languages and so forth, guess what? Can two men walk together except they be agreed? No. You cannot walk together except you teaching and saying the same thing. You know, let's get that right quick. Give me Amos chapter 3 and verse 3. Like I say, simple precepts that brothers should have, man. These things should constantly come up in brothers' thoughts, man, when certain key words come up.
Book of Amos chapter 3, verse 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed?
So unless we speaking and doing the same things, a lot of times we not going to agree. And that's what the scriptures is telling us. That's why all praise to the Most High, brothers and sisters, is in here on one accord with what? Knowing that we the Israelites and knowing that we got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Give me another precept. Give me 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10.
And it's all, like I say, it's all kind of examples. Even when you go into Acts chapter 15, how Paul had a difference with
Apollos.
And they, guess what they did? They departed from each other because of the disagreement. So sometimes that thing happens sometimes.
That's right. And I know even going into why it's different camps out here. I know a lot of times brothers and sisters want to know about these things. Like, why we all just can't come together? Because we all not speaking the same thing. You know, that's Christ's job when we went into Isaiah chapter 52, verse 8. We're going to see eye to eye when Christ bring again Zion. Because he's the master teacher to get us all on one accord. No, brother, don't do it this way. This is that way. That's the wrong understanding. And guess what? You ain't going to be combating with Christ up in there. Well, no. Then look. Nimrod, you going against what I just say? Nigga, I done seen the Most High. You can't even comprehend the Most High. So he's the master teacher that's going to give us the full understanding. When you get there, read that out.
It's like it was Paul and Barnabas.
Oh, Paul.
1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord, Yahushua, that ye all speak the same thing.
That ye all what?
Speak the same thing.
Read on up.
And that there be no divisions among you.
That there be no divisions amongst us. Read on up.
But that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment.
In the same mind and the same judgment. So brothers and sisters have to be on one accord with these things. A lot of times these things do not work. Like we always bring out the Million Man March. A lot of different ideologies out there. You got 1 million black brothers together. So what y'all gonna do with it? That thing, then it came to naught. Because guess what? It wasn't under the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. It wasn't up under them calling themselves Israelites. You got them calling themselves Moors, Islam, Hotep, my brother, and some of the other stuff that they say out here. Let's go back. Got some? Genesis chapter 11 and verse 8.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city.
So when they couldn't understand each other, guess what? That would be a frustrating time. You hand me that brick and you look, what? You know, I don't understand you. So they left off from building it. The Most High, guess what? He brought that to naught because he understood their thoughts, what they was really trying to do, trying to overthrow him. And we knew that wasn't going to happen. So the Most High God stops all that. Just like what Esau's doing today. He's always giving us the blueprint to let us know what they're doing. Matter of fact, let's get there. Give me Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 8. Most High don't leave us in the blind on these things. That's why It's in the scriptures. Brothers have to thoroughly, sisters have to thoroughly search the scriptures. 42 and verse 9.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 9. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you them.
Read that again.
Behold, the former things are come to pass.
Things that happened in the Old Testament, read on up.
And new things do I declare.
And new things is going into what? The new prophecies that's in the Bible that hadn't been unfolded. Read on up.
Before they spring forth, I tell you.
Before these things come, guess what? The Most High God always gives us a warning. So we what? We not in the dark. So you can't say, well, I didn't know, Lord. Yeah, you lying. Because guess what? It's in the scriptures. I had the prophets down there to give you the understanding. But guess what? You didn't want that thing. Let's go back. Genesis chapter 11 and verse 8. Verse 9.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel.
Like we said, the name Babel means what? Confusion. Read on up.
Because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
Because guess what? When they're scattered abroad, divided is easily to be conquered. Divided you fall, man. Just like with our nation, we trying to put ourselves back together. You know, so guess what? Together we stand. Because Esau has this same spirit today. That's why they call him. Give me Psalms chapter 137, verse 7. Because what is one of Esau's biblical names? I don't know. This might be a broad question. Nah, that's what I said. That is, y'all right. Y'all right on that. But a spiritual name. I had to bring it out. Psalms 137 and 7. Y'all, you brothers are right though. Y'all right. But I asked like a loaded question.
Psalms chapter 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed.
Read verse 8 again.
O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed.
What is one of Esau's spiritual names? Daughter of Babylon. And we see them doing what? The same thing that the Babylonians did back then. What King Nimrod did back then. That's why the Most High God put that name on there. Trying to gather the people up under one accord. Trying to be the Most High. Got all these different buildings and so forth. They doing these things because they want the nations to worship them. Read on up.
O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed.
Who what?
Who art to be destroyed.
Who art to be destroyed. King David was given a prophecy that guess what? It'll come to pass when Edom will be no more. That's their prophecy. Read on up.
Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us.
As thou hast what?
As thou hast served us.
Because the Most High God is going to fill their cup double to what the things that them did to us. Unspeakable things that brothers and sisters have to look more into. Give me Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1. Now, matter of fact, Salaki, I'm sorry, brothers and sisters. Give me Revelation chapter 17 and verse 5. Salaki, I know I'm messing up your notes.
I'm gonna write it down anyway.
Yeah, because we're going to come back to it anyway. I just put them up. We have the things up here. A lot of times we want, it's written down, but Spirit guide us another order, another way. Revelation chapter 17 and verse 5.
Revelation 17 and 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great.
It says mystery, Babylon the Great, because a lot of times our people can't understand and see why the Bible, or we call this Babylon. Because guess what? This place feeds us, it clothes us, it gives us stimulus checks, it gives us food stamps, it gives us housing authority. No, Negro, no, nigga, this is the land of milk and honey. It cannot possibly be bad when they giving us all these good things. And we like, brother and sister, these things are to deceive you, to make you come up under their banner. You got to understand who you are first and what God you should be serving. You serving them. That's why it's saying mystery, because they can't figure it out who it is. Read verse 5 again, huh?
Revelation 17:5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots.
The mother of hoes. And that's basically what it's saying, harlots, because that's what a harlot is. You know, they come with all different type of doctrines out here. You know, like we say, homosexuality, you know, pedophilia, ecophilia, might as well say. It's just, I mean, it's crazy out here. Read on up.
The mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Because the things that America does, other nations are not doing. Like we say, even with the language, the English language, that's why I forgot to touch on, most nations subscribe to what? English. You know, this lets you know who is in the rulership power. They're not going to the EU trying to learn Japanese or Chinese. These other nations are trying to learn English. You know, even trying to bring people up under their one language. So they have the same mentality as Nimrod did back then.
And just like even let's bring it up to our people. Our people is the same people, man, I'm telling you, man, our people never change the things that they do. Even in this mystery Babylon that we live in, we were the same people that, like you say, because America give us food stamps, they give us stimulus checks. I'm gonna show you something. Go to Exodus chapter 16, verse 3 right quick. Because it's the same people, we are the same people in this Bible doing the same dang on thing over and over again. Because this land of confusion, it gives us a little gift that destroys our hearts, man. You tell I read it.
Exodus 16:3. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt.
See, he said, would to God he said, man, we would have died by the hands of Egypt, man. But watch this though.
When we sat by the flesh pots.
So when they gave us big pots of meat, you know how they do. We get them food stamps, we gonna get big baskets of meat. Read.
And when we did eat bread to the full.
And they ate bread to the full. They talking about in Egypt, they ate bread to the full. They got big meat pots. They eat real good in Egypt. Read.
For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
So he said, oh man, you brought us out here to kill the whole assembly with hunger, man. Come on, man. All the glory that the Most High just showed us by doing all this stuff to the Egyptians. Now you said the Lord gonna bring y'all all the way out here to starve y'all out. And we not the same dang on people. Well, Lord, you blessed me with this apartment, Lord. But it ain't no food in here, man. What, you gonna starve me out? You got me a car, Lord. I ain't got no gas. Brother don't even want to work. You know what I'm saying? You gotta start thinking, man, how the Bible is written, man. Every detail of this Bible, it explains them and it explains our actions. One and the same. Same people, guess what? That's like when I use my ox breaking it down, how when you see certain things like daughter of Babylon, guess what? Because our people is in, if you read down, our people right there with them in the daughter of Babylon, in the agreements with them. It's a tough class, man. But I hope brothers, man, go back and rewatch the class because it's pretty tough. Go ahead.
Let's go to Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1.
Book of Isaiah chapter 47 verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. But thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
You know, I'm always see what brothers think of. What precept could you put for verse number 1? What you got, Brother Stephen? You just read. What you got, Brother Shaya?
Revelation chapter 17.
That's not what I'm looking for. We just read it. Read it again. I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna give y'all the hint. O daughter of the Chaldeans. We just read that. Juniors, we just read it.
Psalms 137:7.
Junior Ox out here killing y'all today, man. What's up, man? We just read that. Psalms 137 verse 7. Saying the same thing. O daughter of Babylon. Read verse 1 again, up. When you get through.
Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans.
Now it's going into Isaiah prophesying really about America, having the same spirit as what? As the Babylonians. Read on up.
O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
It says sit on the ground, meaning guess what? It's going to come a period of time where the Most High God take rulership from them.
I seen that tender and delicate. It was that Deuteronomy.
24, yeah.
The tender.
You get the key word though.
Yeah, he did. I give Ock that. But I just gave you the key word when I said daughter of Babylon. But that's a good one. I'm glad that you peeped it because I ain't even peeped it. All praise. I give you half a point for that, man. But like I said, it's talking about America in the spirit because, like we say, the Most High God is going to come a time when He's going to put them on in the dust. When they talk about in the dust, it's talking about a lower estate. You know, taking rulership from them. Read on up.
Verse 2. Take the millstone and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg.
Read on up.
Uncover the thighs.
See, we lifting up America's skirt. Lifting up her sins or uncovering her nakedness. All these things go synonymous with each other. Because we bringing out what the Bible says. We bringing out Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. Guess what? Those are those curses. Those are those sins that's on America. The things and atrocities that they did to us. That we making known. Read on up.
Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Thy what?
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Nakedness is a similar to for what? Sin. Exactly. Read on up.
Yea, thy shame shall be seen.
And shame is also going into sin. So we making out them shame when we bring it out there, especially when you bring out Obadiah, boy. Esau be trying to get the hell up out of there, boy. When you bring out Obadiah, when you bring out Malachi. Oh, I gotta go. You know, I like what y'all doing, man. Yeah, right. You know, you'll stand and get your judgment. Read on up.
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
You know, that last part is heavy. Christ ain't coming back as a man. He's coming back as a God. Read on up.
As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name. The Holy One of Israel.
The what?
The Holy One of Israel.
Jump down to verse no, that's all I want at. Give me Isaiah chapter 13 verse 19. Because we got to touch on all angles too. Christian apologists, even when they read Isaiah chapter 13 and when we go into our famous scripture Isaiah chapter 14, they don't want to hear that. So a lot of times they say that it's the Babylon back then, but it's key words in there to let you know that it's not talking about past Babylon, but it's talking about future Babylon. And there's many key words in there that show you that. They just overread them and don't acknowledge it. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 19.
The book of Isaiah 13 and 19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
So this is also Isaiah stayed prophesying about America, wicked behind, man, in the spirit. He says the glory of kingdoms, because guess what? Back then it was the glory of kingdoms, true enough, but even today, what? It's the glory of kingdoms. Everybody want to come to America until you come up under her and you see their oppression. Then you want to go back to Haiti and so forth. Now stay your butt on over here now. Read on up.
It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there.
So what is verse 20 going into? What you got, Joe?
After the destruction? Like after it gets destroyed?
Yeah. Which one though? Past tense or present tense?
No, like, what you mean? You mean future?
Like which Babylon?
I'm talking about the future.
Yeah.
Today, after America gets destroyed.
And the key words in there is that it shall never be inhabited. Right now, who is inhabiting right now? What is modern day Babylon? Y'all brother said Iran. Ain't people inhabiting Iran? So this is not talking about this. This is a prophetic prophecy that's going to come in future times, because we just read it. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Because when the Most High God sent nuclear bombs over here, ain't nobody going to dwell over here in America ever again. It's people still living in Babylon right now. So Christian apologists say, no, verse 14 is talking about in the past. No, it's not talking about in the past. This is talking about in today's time. Future prophecy. Read on up. You started verse 20 again.
20?
Yeah.
It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there.
And guess what? The Arabian is going into who? The Arabs. Don't they own all type of stores here in America, man? Mainly in our neighborhoods. It's saying the Arabians should not pitch tent there. They over here, and they even over there in Iran, pitching tents still to this day. So these things is relevant for today right now. Read on up.
Neither shall the shepherds make their foes there.
And even with these wicked, the shepherds is going into the what? Who said it? Exactly. Going into the pastors. You know, putting all these wicked spirits on our people, teaching Christianity, teaching things they ought not to teach, man. So brothers have to be able to catch that when a super Christian run up on you with that thing. Because they'll try that. Oh, no, you can't bring out Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. That was talking about it in the past. When you jump up to Isaiah 13, nope, my brother, no super Christian. This is the understanding right here. You know, we still dwelling, they still over there in Babylon dwelling. Give me Revelation chapter 18. You got something out?
I ain't want to step.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Should bring it out. What? Because I did one another precept on that never inhabits. What is it?
Isaiah. You killed that man.
Get to this last precept, Revelation chapter 18, verse 4.
You know that?
Huh?
You know that?
Yeah, brothers. Captain Yara said, brothers should know that, man. I'll jump up to verse 2. Revelations 18 and 2.
The book of Revelations, chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils.
Of who?
Of devils.
Read on out.
And the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Man, it says that is heavy too, and it's become the habitations of devils. The Most I said, there ain't nothing but a lot of devils running around America. That's all it is, because guess what? They teaching doctrines of devils. They seducing people, taking people away from keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. It says, and of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So just like even what we were saying, anything that you want to do, you can do it out here in this land, man. That's it. Every foul spirit, any foul spirit that you can think of is right here in America. You go up anywhere in the hoods, you go to 310 where we go, you go to South Dallas under the bridge, I mean over the block, I mean it's everywhere, man. All types of foul spirits. Jump down, read verse 3.
Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Hold on. Matter of fact, let me get a precept that brothers can have for for Revelation 18 and 2. Give me Isaiah 34 and 11. Salaki, I know I'm messing up your notes. I know. But get that precept so brothers can have right quick.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 34, verse 11.
Because in the Old Testament, it go into it in a little bit more details. Like we say, this is where John the Revelator was quoting Isaiah the prophet.
Isaiah 34 and 11. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also, and the raven shall dwell in it.
Going back to what? Revelation 18 and 2. Every foul bird and every foul spirit. This is what he was saying. He was just going more in depth into it. Read that again from the top.
But the cormorant and the bittern bittern shall possess it, the owl also, and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion.
He said, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion. What is this considered today? The land of confusion, or Babylon, which is another name for that. Saying the same thing. Brothers and sisters have to see the correlation. Read on up.
And he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness.
Let's go back. Let's go back to Revelation 18:3. And the cormorant and the bittern is going into different types of birds. The cormorant is a large diving bird with a long neck, a long hooked bill, and short legs. You know, these are just those different type of birds that he was going into.
Unclean, hateful bird.
That's right.
Raven.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's another good point. Even like I say, because like I said, when it goes to unclean, we would not ordain to eat these animals and so forth. But even on a spiritual level, like we say, with Esau worshiping and going out to the Bohemian garden, what do they have out there that they be worshiping? Do y'all know? The owl. Even in certain of the dollar bills, what do they be having up in the corners? The owls. You know, these are the correlations that brothers and sisters have to learn to seek and pull out. These things ain't there for nothing, man. They there for a reason, man.
They tell on themselves, man.
They do. Psalms 64:8. Most High God used them to fall on their own tongue. That's exactly right. Let's go back to Revelations 18:4. 18:3.
Revelations 18:3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
So all nations have taken on the philosophies. Like we say, it came a point in time where even in Iraq, they wasn't celebrating Christmas. You know, they was out there putting homosexuals to death. You know, they putting even their own daughters to death for doing certain things. Now they slowly but surely taking on their customs. By America being over there in the Iraq war for umpteen years, they slowly but surely push and have them assimilated to their ways. Over there watching porn. Like we say, over here in America, lights stay on for 24/7. But over there in third and second world countries, they ain't got no light bill like how we do. Things don't stay open 24/7.
And a lot of them reason why they don't do, because if you knew our customs, a lot of the cities in a lot of the country take out the customs of us. We didn't work at night. But in this captivity, we working at night. They don't give a damn.
Right.
But we did. That was never our custom to do this. But now they make us do these things because we are in captivity here. That's the reason why you see they don't be open at night and different, because those were the original customs that we didn't do no work. Even going to war, you never seen us warring at night. But guess what they would do? They would try to sneak in at night. So guess what? We had to change the game just to start trying to defeat them damn cowards, because they already knew how the thing goes, man. Go ahead, up.
Read verse 3 again, up.
Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
And not only they hate America, but then they commit fornication with her. Spiritual fornication. Read on up.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Because America makes the other nations rich, mainly off the backs of the Israelites. All the other nations know wherever the Israelites go, that guess what? They build up that empire. Because guess what? We are the most consumers in this country. You know, we consume everything, man. We are the buyers. We're not the sellers 9 times out of 10. You know, and we're making these other countries rich, richer and richer. Read on up.
Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
Now, like we say, we always got to cover this because it was once taught to actually flee from America. But like we say, where are you going to go? America's influence is everywhere. There is no place that you can go to get away from the influences of America. You ain't going to go back to Africa because guess what? The Hamites hate our damn guts. So better not be, like we say, now, brothers can move to these lands, but that's not what the scriptures is saying. It's not saying physically come up out of her. It's saying spiritually come up out of her. Don't take on the ways of America. Guess what? Take on the ways of the Bible. Take on the ways of your heritage. Take on the ways of the Most High. You got something?
I just want to bring that precept right quick. What Jerubbaal was saying. John 11:9 about going to how we wasn't really ordained to work at night, man. You know, but like we say in our captivity, man, we have to right now. And it's also going into sin, but just a little precept.
This is the book of John, chapter 11 and verse 9. And Yahweh shall answer, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world.
It's going into twofolds, you know. It's not just all going into light. It's also going into, you know, the laws, the statutes and commandments, letting your light shine as well. But read on.
Verse 10. But if a man walk in the night.
And the night is going into what? What's another thing the night going into? Sin. Pray our praise.
But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him.
Because there is no light. But it's twofold.
I'm gonna give you direct hard on in precept with it. John 9:4 right quick. But you can jump over to verse 3 to give it the context of what I was going into. John 9:3.
The book of John, chapter 9, verse 3. Yahweh shall answer, neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be manifest in him.
So guess what? He's saying the works of God should be manifest in him, because they was asking about this man that was born with some kind of deficiency. Read verse 4 though. This is the point.
Yeah. I must work the works of him that sent me, while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work.
He said night cometh when no man can work. So that's the reason why it's not our custom to do that, because we didn't work at night. But being us in captivity, that's what it's set up for us to do, to be working in the captivity, man. They don't give a damn. They don't regard young, old, what time we supposed to be working, nothing. They don't go by our rules. They go by their own rules.
And them some good precepts. Because like we say, as the more you get into the scriptures, you understand that, hey, the things that we're doing today, we wouldn't dare do them back then, man. So we slowly but surely, like it's saying, like we finna go back to, let's go back to Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. Those some great precepts.
And to touch on 3, man, I do security, man. I work with all kind of Africans and things, Sudanese and all Ethiopians, Libyans, man. All them women got gold and blonde hair in their head, man. Like that verse 3 is cold, man. All the nations have drunk of the wine, man. All of them. They come over here and just do everything America want them to do, man. That's how you know about Esau, man.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man.
Ain't nobody out there with I don't even know what they do like it. Ain't nobody wearing veils over their head all day, like walking around in the sandstorm and stuff.
You'll come up in there and probably see Moab with a whole full-blown wig on, man. Rocking a finger wave or something, man. I'm talking about, boy, you'll never know what you'll get out here in Babylon, man.
For real.
Like you say, with some tights on, talking slang. So, I mean, hey, boy,
That's true, because we started crossover. Moab want to cross over too.
For real.
He want to cross over, but he do it fast in the mud. We break dance, they break dance. Everything we do, man, they want to do it too.
Let's go back to Revelation 18 and 4.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
Spiritually come up out of the ways and the customs of America. Read on up.
That ye be not partakers of her sin.
Because the Most High God got his eye, got the red beam on America. He just waiting to put the spirit on them to press the buttons. You know, this place is doomed, man. You know, brothers and sisters want to make sure that they be diligent in the truth, make sure that they keeping their spirit right, because, hey, that day, we don't know when that day is coming, man. Read on up.
Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sin.
Because her sins, those plagues that we finna read about, is going into the missiles, nuclear warfare. Read on up.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
Read on up.
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquity.
They done so much dirt here in America. And you got to understand that America is fairly a young country, 400, 300 some years old. But you just imagine all the things, the destructions of the Native American Indians, of the Aztec Indians, of the Negroes, so-called Negroes. Man, that's about 1 billion some people up under their belt that they done killed, man. Just to get this land. Not only 100 years of lynching, voting rights, police brutality. The list goes on and on. Polluting the waters, like how they got up in Flint, Michigan, with the the vaccine, the Tuskegee Airmen, you know, poison our people with smallpox. I mean, man, it goes on and on, man. You thinking the Most High not seeing what they done did? Read on up.
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities.
Read on up.
Reward her even as she rewards you, and double unto her, double according to her work.
The Most High God said, they done filled our cup, but I'm going to fill your cup double, man. Y'all going to get a double portion of what you done did to my chosen people. Read on up.
Reward her even as she rewarded you.
So we don't have to worry about taking vengeance, taking up arms to fight them. Guess what? The Most High God said what vengeance is his. Can't nobody pay back like the Most High. He meditate on terrorists, man. I'm talking about he is the king of terrorists. So you thinking he ain't got some up his sleeve for this nation? Read on up.
Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double.
Filled unto Babylon the great double. And like we say, and with that, we say shalom. Thank you for brothers and sisters that's out there watching. We always tell brothers and sisters to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. So we gonna give me Exodus chapter 23 and verse 32. Like we said, we hope brothers and sisters is watching. Share the videos. Help us push this truth out here, brothers and sisters, so we can wake up and go to hell home, Lord's will. Like I said, we got Feast of Dedication coming up. Brothers and sisters, reach out to us. You know. When you get there, I'll read that.
Exodus 23 and 32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods.
Jump up to verse 31.
31. And I will set the bonds from the Red Sea.
Bounds.
And I will set thy bound from the Red Sea, even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hands, and thou shalt drive them out before thee.
And it was our job to drive out the other nations for the land of Israel. Let's see what the Most High God says. We're going to read it again. Read verse 32.
32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them.
The Bible is telling us plainly we should not make any covenant with the other nations. A covenant is going into what? An agreement, a friendship. We understand that we got to work with them. Hey, we keep it strictly platonic. Keep it strictly as a workplace environment, man. And we trying to bring Becky home and all that. Show them to your parents and all. Because it's telling you that they will, over a period of time, turn you away from the Most High God. That's what the scriptures say. Read on up.
Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods.
No, especially with their gods. That's what our people did. We made a covenant with Nimrod, made a covenant with Esau today. Read on.
They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me.
Lest they do what up?
Lest they make thee sin against me.
For
if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee.
So if they come around you, trying to befriend them, guess what? The Bible is saying eventually it's going to become a snare. A snare is a what? A trap. So brothers and sisters want